Hello, welcome to AMB303 International Logistics. My name is Siddharth Simon, and today I'm going to talk about the plastic bag ban on the African region. Now, plastic bags are a global omnipresent product produced at a startling rate of nearly 1 trillion a year. They're continuing to show up in the deepest depths of our oceans, creating major environmental and logistical challenges for organizations and wildlife. Now, when you consider the African region once produced 100 million bags a year, the change has been amazing to see. Now, that was because they're able to apply information technology to solve complex processes. Now, let's start with the beginning. What is logistics management and how can it be applied here? Well, logistics management is the part that plans, implements, controls the effective forward and reverse flow of goods from the point of origin to the point of consumption. Whereas transforming a raw material into a finished product and getting it to the hands of the customers is known as a supply chain. Now, that is where we can seek to combine the two issues here. Plastic bags acts as a resource for customers to transport materials from one location to another. Now, in Africa, plastic bags have been causing various environmental and logistical challenges. Perfect example seen by this photo. Because people in Africa use plastic bags as a way to carry human waste or dispose human waste and carry water. So you can imagine the grounds for diseases that are there. Now, by citing this next figure, we can see the plastic production stages of plastic and best applied to plastic bags. It starts with obtaining raw materials through its polymer production and converting it into the final product before it reaches the hands of the customer. This is where it gets either reused by the customers or gets lost in the supply chain. And that is where the most amount of logistical challenges exists. The process of moving goods from their typical final destination for the purpose of creating value or proper disposal is known as reverse logistics, which can be seen here. Now, to continue, see the global map that exists here. The African region produces comparatively much less plastic bags in comparison to the rest of the world. Yet, manufacturers in the region still face massive problems due to the uncertain domestic volume because simply not enough regions have successfully implemented this ban. This is also known as the bullwhip effect in logistics management. Now, what is that? That is this phenomenon that has changes in inventory levels due to shifts or changes in consumer demand. Now, you can imagine the amount of implications that causes as one moves up the supply chain as shown by the graph. You can have doubling up of costs, you can have budgeting issues, and much more issues that come about. Now, to counter the bullwhip effect, what can be done? You can use information technology. Now, this is done through electronic commerce, which focuses on conducting paperless business through electronic data exchange. Both allows organizations and the public to develop a connection as to what the public wants and what the organizations can supply. Communication systems help suppliers in the region by interacting and sharing information from a logistical perspective. Electronic data interchange is viewed by many as still the best way to measure logistical information technology. Plastic bag suppliers and customers in Africa communicated effectively, and this helped the transition to the ban or from the ban. Now, forecasting is also an important part of supply chain management or the logistical side of plastic bags. Why? Because it seeks to determine an uncertain variable, such as how much plastic bags are still required. Now, therefore, they depend on many factors: raw materials, the customer demand, labor costs. Now, the people or the African region, are able to do this successfully because they were able to communicate what the customers wanted and what the company were willing to produce. But yet again, not enough regions have done it, so therefore there still exists certain uncertain variables. Now, the ban on Kenya is one of the strictest in the world, with up to 4 years in prison for producing or consuming plastic bags. That is a lot. But Kenya is still was one of the biggest manufacturers of plastic bags in the African region. So Kenya's ban has caused adverse effects for the supply chain of various manufacturers and customers. Due to the regressing supply chain in Africa, traders have now begun to use other plastic materials or smuggling products into the country. It has gotten that worse. Despite the best efforts of the government and the community speaking out against it, just like the ban in 2010 in Zimbabwe, customers and locals feel as if there was not a proper plan in place and a cheaper alternative perhaps. And despite diversifying their options, the knock-on effects of it has been quite obvious, and many regions are still struggling from it. To summarize, the African region is showing the rest of the world one can go back to sustainable alternatives without bringing down capitalism. This has allowed its parks and landscapes to be much more cleaner. I think it's now time that the rest of the world take note of this and seeks to do the similar steps as to what the African region have been doing. Together, we can all make this world a much better place to live in. Thank you for your time today.